videos, play his content. Mazi Simon Ekpa, even though he's in detention, you hear him every day in my platform. He speaks. That is it. Once we find our voice, no chain can hold us. No lie can bury the truth. No lie. They can lie for all I care. They can. You remember this issue of Igbo? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have begun to hammer on it, not today. Just like when they said Ojukwu caused the war. All of them believe that Ojukwu caused the war. Ojukwu never called for war. All he called for was the regional government, which they went in Abuja to discuss. But they painted that lie, Ojukwu caused law. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu came on board and teared that lie into pieces, including the lie of the Igbo coup. Finally, in 2025, confession is coming. Confession is coming. You cannot, there's no way you can stop the truth. Lie cannot bury the truth. Never, never. Lie can never bury the truth. And no oppressor can last forever. Always remember that. Wherever you are, remember, no oppressor can last forever. It's just for a while. Every one of us should sit up. We have to sit up and do what we have to do. We don't have to be silenced. We need not to be silenced. We must continue to speak. One of the things you have to know in silence is that oppression is not sustained by strength of the oppressor alone. Oppression is not sustained by the strength of the oppressor alone, but by the silence of the oppressed. The silence of the oppressed, it helps to sustain the oppression. When the powerful abuse, kill, kidnap, enslave the people quiet, then oppression becomes normalized. When they continue to lie against us, they continue to intimidate us, they continue to do everything, and we keep quiet, we assimilate it, we take it as a part of our life, then oppression becomes normalized. And that is the situation of the Zoological Republic. Abnormality have been normalized in Nigeria in all ramifications, in all angles. Abnormality is what they see as normal in Nigeria. That when you start on sick, they say, why must you talk? Today, what the Igbo Biafrans are complaining about is something that is affecting every region, every individual as a human being. A normal human being is supposed to complain about what we are complaining. A normal human being is supposed to feel the pain we're feeling, but in Nigeria, they have normalized abnormality. That is why when you speak, they say, why is it that Igbo people are the one complaining every time? So you want me to not conclude because a Janjaweed have decided to take refuge on terrorism. You want me not to talk because other people have accepted abnormality as normal. So you want me to join them. And they say we are noisemakers every time we talk. So I shouldn't talk because you have accepted, with your idiocy, you have accepted abnormality. Oppression is not sustained by the strength of the oppressor alone, but by the silence of the oppressed. When the powerful abuse, kill, kidnap, and enslave, and the people keep quiet, then oppression becomes normalized. That is the case of the zoo. Silence only tells the oppressor, continue, we agree. Get that into your head. Silence, when you are silent, when you are not acting, when you are not speaking, when you are not sharing videos, you're not making contact, you're not saying anything. You are only telling the oppressor to continue. I agree. That is what you're telling him. That is the signal you're sending. Continue, we agree. Silence tells the world, there is no problem. Silence tells the world that there is no problem. You see how dangerous silence is. When you are silent, you are not speaking about, I don't tell you to talk about mine. Why don't you speak about the problem that's happening in Ududua land? Why don't you speak about the atrocities of the government in Oduduwa land, in Arewa, in the Middle Belt? Why don't you speak the evil that the government is committing in your own land? How they create insecurity and promote terrorism? How they equip the terrorists? Why don't you speak about that? Silence tells the world there is no problem. When you are silent, you are telling the world. You'll be wondering, why is it that the world is just silent? Why thousands of people are dying in Nigeria every day? You'll be wondering, why is it that the world is not reacting? Even when the number of people that are dying in Nigeria daily surpass the number of people that are dying in Ukraine, yet Ukraine is in the front line. Ukraine is in the front line of the discussion. Because other people have joined them and created a war. They're not silent. They're speaking every day. Palestine is in the front line. They're not silent. Go to all the adverts on YouTube. You see Palestinian issue coming up. Any advert you can, before you see one or two adverts, you see Palestinian coming up. That is why the war cannot be silenced. But silence tells the world there is no problem. Because you are not talking. Ohanes Ndigbo is not speaking. Igbo politicians are not speaking. The elites are not speaking. Other well-meaning Nigerians that claim to be activists, they are not talking. Silence kills courage and buries justice. Silence kills courage and buries justice. That is the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. When Mazi Simon Ekpa was here, Mazi Simon Ekpa never kept silent. He was always mounting pressure to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, creating different kinds of avenues on civil disobedience to demand for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He never kept silent, and that put them on the toe. To an extent, even the governors begin to ask for his release. Many people begin to add their voice, release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, let him go, because of the pressure created by Mazi Simon Ekpa. Silence kills courage and buries justice. That is why you must not be silent. If you want to be free, you can't be silent. If you are serious about Biafran freedom, you will never be silent. If you are serious about the freedom of your people, you will never be silent. That is why I can't be silent. I speak 7 days of the week, 2 times every day, except on Sunday. 7 days of the week, 2 times every day. I speak on my platform on YouTube. Wherever you are and you're watching us, I want you to take these points home. Silence gives power to the suppression. Silence gives power to suppression. When you are silent, you are giving power to suppression. Suppression strives where there is no voice. The goal of every tyrant is not just to control your body, but to silence your voice. Because once your voice is taken, your existence becomes invisible. You see how important it is for you to make noise. Make some noise wherever you are. Speak about your freedom. Did you just see that? Once your voice is taken, your existence becomes invisible. The only thing that makes it look as if you are still existing is because of the noise. If not for the agitators today, if not for the members of the IPOB, if not for every Biafran that is speaking about Biafra today, I bet you nobody will know that we exist. Remember the project of this government that you see. You saw a voice note that leaked where they said that they will make us irrelevant within 4 years, and they are almost achieving it. Politically, already they have made you irrelevant. Politically. Economically, they are trying by all means, by burning your market, by putting stringent conditions everywhere. A project that they have. And if you remain silent, if you don't talk, once our voice is taken, our existence becomes invisible. Always remember this. That is why you must speak. You must talk. A people who keep quiet under suppression are like a candle placed under a basket, burning but unseen. Did you hear that? A people who kept quiet under suppression are like a candle placed under a basket, burning but unseen. Suppression ends when the oppressed speaks, resists, and refuses to be buried under fear. That is the only time we can be able to stop this abnormality you are seeing. This oppression, I say, the only way we can be able to fight our way out is to speak, resist, and refuse to be buried under fear. Throw that fear away. And this is one of the, that is why they are trying to create as many, they want to create fear as much as they can. That is why if you go to what is happening in Biafra land today, the military will come in, they will set a home, a family home ablaze. An entire family, they will set the home ablaze. They will go to a business, they will set the business on fire. They will see a young man on the road driving, they will open fire and kill him without doing anything, nothing, just because they see you in an area and you are a Biafran. They take your life to create fear. To create fear. Suppression ends when the oppressed speaks, resists, and refuses to be buried under fear. My sisters and my brothers that are watching, do not allow yourself to be buried under fear. No matter what happens, no matter the situation, continue to strive, continue to speak, continue to give your voice. One other point you have to know is that silence turns lies into truth. Silence, when you do not speak, it will turn lie into truth. That is why the Igbos are in the condition they are today. That is why we, the Igbos, are in the condition we are today. But for a very long time, we have never, ever reacted. We are not responding. We kept silent. Why the Yoruba media was online blackmailing us, painting us what we are not, painting us as fraudsters, painting us as ritualists, painting us as criminals, painting us as troublemakers, painting us as violent people. We are silent. We are not talking. And the whole world is getting that information in the media. And now, that information they have pushed in the media is now looking like truth. That is why we cry and cry and cry and nobody pays attention. That is why today they criminalize self-determination. Genuine request of self-determination that Biafrans are making, they criminalize it. And they call us terrorists. They call us violent people. They associate everything we say and do with violence today. Silence turns lies into truth. False information spread like wildfire when nobody challenges it. Lies only succeed when truth remains silent. Why must you remain silent, my brothers and sisters? Why would anybody tell me not to come online and speak? Why would anybody tell you not to share my videos? Why would somebody tell you, don't add your voice, don't share videos on your platform? Why would you be preserving a platform because of friends? Friendship that will earn you nothing. And you allow lies to foster. Lie that destroys your lineage. You allow it to go. Why would you wait for somebody to beg you to share a video that is exposing the atrocities of the government? You want somebody to beg you before you share. Why? If you cannot be able to open your own platform and make a video, why not help and share those who are making the videos? Share them. Let the world see. You never can tell who can see it, because we know there are still people that are sane in this world. There are still sensible people. There are still meaningful people that cares about humanity in this world. And we're expecting that one day, they will never be able to be silent anymore. They will rise up. False information spread like wildfire. When nobody challenges it, lies only succeed when truth remains silent. If you do not speak to defend yourself, the enemy lies with defined, I don't know how to explain it. The enemy lies will define you. That is why it is very essential that you defend yourself. Because if you refuse to defend yourself, the enemy's lie will define you. The lie, just like what happened to the Igbos. It is the lies of the Yoruba media today that define the Igbos to the outside world. If not for the presence of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and what is happening today, I love what one of our sisters is doing on TikTok. Our sister, whom they wanted to antagonize from Canada, that our sister in Canada, Anya Nambra, she dedicated her own platform to that, to defend the cause of the Igbos. To change that narrative and bring out, it is not by lying, by truth, bring out fact. Go to her platform on TikTok, Anya Nambra. You will see her presenting facts, responding to those lies. Lies only succeed when truth remains silent. Silence is not going to save us. We must not remain silent. Everybody must begin to speak. If you do not speak to defend yourself, the enemy's lie will define you. To define you, there's nothing you can do about it. If you do not correct falsehood, generations to come will inherit deception as history. That is the case of Nigeria. If you do not correct falsehood, generation to come will inherit deception as history. That is the case of the Zoological Republic of Nigeria. Many innocent people today in Yoruba land doesn't know what really happened. Many innocent people in the Middle Belt, in the North, don't know the true story. Why Igbos are hated. They don't know why. They can't even explain why. They just saw them and they told them that Igbos are domineering. Igbos are very proud. They want to be in charge. Igbos want to control Nigeria. How? You don't ask questions. How do they want to control? Is it by violence? Is it by merit? That they're domineering? Is it by their hard work? What do you want them to do? They don't ask that question. Generation to come, generation upon generation, have inherited falsehood and inherited deception as history in Nigeria. That is why Nigeria only remedy is to divide it. Everybody go their separate ways. Division, disintegration, that is the only solution. We are not saying it out of hatred. No, it is out of love for humanity. We are calling for disintegration of Nigeria out of love for humanity so that people can grow in a sane society where they can act like humans. It is out of love for humanity. That is why we are calling for the disintegration of Nigeria. The northern part go to their area that they are comfortable with. The Oduduwa people go to their monarchical system that are comfortable with. The Biafrans go with their secular system and live with it. That's all we ask. Silence allows propaganda to become facts in the eyes of the world. You see the danger of silence? The danger of silence cannot be underestimated. The danger of silence cannot be overemphasized. Silence allows propaganda become facts in the eyes of the world. And this is what Nigeria is using against the Biafran people. Propaganda upon propaganda. And some of us are not paying attention. Instead, we are challenging ourselves. Instead, we use our platform to antagonize ourselves. Instead, we use our platform to campaign against ourselves. Instead, we use our platform to call ourselves names. Always, you open your platform, you bring the video of your brother or your sister, and you are narrating. And you think you are doing something. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. You claim you are fighting for freedom. You claim you are concerned about your freedom of people, and yet you can't even fight against the propaganda that is being pushed against your nation, against an entire ethnic group. It doesn't bother you. What bothers you is your brother and sister, where you are dragging who is going to be in charge and who is not going to be in charge, whose name is going to rail and who is not going to rail, who is the Alpha and Omega and who is not. It is a shame. It is a shame. Silence allows propaganda to become facts in the eyes of the world. That is why when government demonize Biafrans, calling them criminals, terrorists, violent people, it is not enough to shake your head in private. We must rise. We must speak. We must correct every lie with truth. You must not be silenced. The government of Nigeria is intentionally doing what they are doing. That is why whenever government of Nigeria demonize Biafra, they do it by calling us criminals. They want the world to see us as criminals. They want the world to see us as terrorists. They want the world to see us as violent people. And when you see this thing, it is not enough to shake your head and say, oh, these people again. Oh, in private, you say, oh, look at what they're telling. No, don't do that in private. Don't lament in private. Come out on social media. Open your platform. If you can't open platform, join us on our own platform and speak. Speak. Add your voice. Speak against the atrocities. Every one of us must rise. We must speak. We must correct every lie with truth. With truth. Remember, with truth. Correct every of the lie of the Janjaweed, the British and Nigeria. Correct it with truth. Don't worry how long it's going to take. We must have to continue that as an assignment for every single one of us. Do not relent. Don't look back. Silence is not something good. Silence, in no way, even if you look at it spiritually and physically, silence is not a good thing. On the spiritual aspect, you can say the spiritual and moral danger of silence. Let's go into that area. The spiritual and moral danger of silence. Silence is not only political weakness, it is also spiritual betrayal. It is also spiritual betrayal. So when we talk about being silent, it's not only on the political sector, no. It is also a spiritual betrayal. The scripture tells us, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the right of all who are destitute. Proverbs 31:8. Proverbs 31:8. He said, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the right of all who are destitute. So you can see, you have no reason to be silent in the atrocity against your people. Keeping silent when you should speak makes you part of the crime. That is why you see many Biafrans today are accomplices in what is happening to us. They will tell you it doesn't concern them. Oh, I'm not part of the Biafra. You go to their platform in the midst of all this danger today. You go to their platform. You don't have big platform. You can never see anything about Biafra there. We have many celebrities that are Biafrans. We have people that have big platforms, Biafra, but you can never see them report. Even if you don't target Biafra, even if you don't put the number, why don't you report the things that are happening in your area and debunk the lies that are being told? It is not mandatory that you must put it Biafra. Like there are some people today who only what they are doing today is to unify the Igbos, the unity of the Igbo. When I see that program, I feel happy. It is a very strong and beautiful project, and they are focusing on that. They must not talk about Biafra. Their own project is to speak about the unification of the Igbos wherever they are, all the Igbo tribes. And it's a project. That project has been a lie that existed for more than 50 years. A lie. Another lie for more than 50 years. But today, Igbos, some group of people came out and they are going for unification of it. Whether they are doing it for positive, for negative interest, or positive and negative publication, they are all okay for us. We can always get something out of it. Whether they are doing it for political, some people will come and say they are doing it for political interest. Whether you are doing it for political interest or whatever interest, it is ending a lie. That is my joy. I don't care which interest, whether you are doing it for political interest or not, but you are helping to end a lie. And you see those people, they stand on that path. In as much as they are not talking about Biafra, they focus on that very agenda of unification of the Igbos. to end that lie. And they are speaking, they're not silent. They don't just go and sit back at it. And it is because they are speaking, shouting. You see many people online challenging that lies, that you see somebody who speaks Igbo, have Igbo surname, Igbo father, have the name of his town is Igbo, his village Igbo, he go to the market of Igbo, and yet he tells he's not Igbo. And he will on camera and begin to defend it. If you don't challenge those idiots, someone like Wike that came and said that Igbere people are from Edo State, are from Benin. Igbere people are from Benin. They have no resemblance. There is nothing in their life, in their culture that looks like Benin. Nothing. And yet, a politician will come and push. If you keep silent, before you know it, it becomes a routine. You see, those people are taking that challenge. They refuse to keep silent. And they're doing a very good job. Keeping silence when you are supposed to speak makes you an accomplice. It makes you part of the crime. That is why every one of us must speak. Don't be silent. You must speak. Silence is sin. When truth is at stake. Silence is a sin when truth is at stake. Silence in the face of bloodshed is a curse upon the soul. Just like what you are seeing in Biafra land today. Silence in the face of bloodshed of Biafrans. Look at the bloodshed that is happening in Okiwe. The bloodshed that is happening in Olu. In the hand of Hopus Odemma. And Ohanese and Igbo, they are silent. Politicians are silent. The celebrities are silent. Those who call themselves elites and rich idiots are silent. Silence in the face of bloodshed is a curse upon the soul. You can see how some of us have become a curse upon the souls of innocents. The souls of innocents. There is no reason whatsoever for you to be silenced. There is no reason. There is no reason whatsoever for you to be silent. The voice of resistance is the seed of freedom. The voice of resistance is the seed of freedom. Every great movement was born out of the courage to speak when silence was demanded. That is how freedom movements are formed. That is how freedom is generated. Every great freedom movement was born out of the courage to speak when silence was needed. From Moses before Pharaoh, to Mandela against apartheid, to Martin Luther King Jr. in America, freedom has always required a voice, a cry, a stand. Today, to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to Mazi Simon Ekpa, a voice when they want silence. What Nigerian government want from us is silence. Just accept anything they throw at us. Silence, that's what they want. That is what they want. But the same thing that happened that Pharaoh, during the time of Pharaoh, Moses refused to be silent and he spoke. During the time of apartheid, Mandela spoke. In America, Martin Luther King Jr. spoke. The same way today, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is speaking for you and I. Mazi Simon Ekpa is standing in for us. Silence enslaves, but speech liberates. Silence chains, but truth break the chain. Silence is death, but resistance is life. We must continue to resist. We must break our chains in our hand by speaking up. We must liberate ourselves by speaking up. That is why we must have a voice. And before we continue, I want to play this video. I want us to pay attention to this very video that was made. This is another voice that is not being silent. Even though he is not a Biafran. From the Middle Belt, a voice is coming out to demand for the freedom of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, a mass protest for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on 1st of October. A mass protest on behalf of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, 1st of October, is a very good one. And just as I always said, I don't care whether you have a political motive or not. It doesn't bother me. Speaking up, I know that all things work for our own good. In as much as we don't trust Nigeria in all they do. But it's a good move. At least somebody is speaking out from the Middle Belt, calling for a mass protest for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu freedom on the October 1st. The video is everywhere, and we are going to play the video for you to see the importance of voice. Everybody, nobody should be silent. If you keep silent, you are accomplice. That is why this message is coming timely. I want us to listen to the message that brother had on calling for the protest for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu freedom. Let's listen.
I want to use this opportunity to appreciate Nigerians for their support since I released the first video yesterday about free Nnamdi Kanu protest. This protest is born out of sincerity and honesty. With the display of shame and disgrace that happened in Katsina last week, we all know that for years Nnamdi Kanu has been in detention. And as I'm talking to you, Nnamdi Kanu is having and he's battling with health challenges even while in prison. It is rather unfortunate with the display of shame and disgrace that happened in Katsina by the bandit commander. The question we ask, do we have a country? The question we need to ask, do we have a nation? The question we need to ask, do we have a constitution? And if we have a constitution, then as Nigerians, we need to ask ourselves and ask the federal government question, why the double standard? If the bandit commander can come and address Nigeria like schoolboys and address Nigeria by threatening Nigerians by killing one of the headers, that he will kill more Hausas and Northerners, and he is moving freely. Why should Nnamdi Kanu should still be in prison? The question I ask, why the double standard? And it is a question that every Nigerian should be asking. Double standards by the federal government of Nigeria. And that is why the call for one Nigeria, one voice protest is born out of sincerity and honesty, equity and justice for all Nigeria citizens. One Nigeria, one voice protest. One Nigeria, one voice protest is a national call for all Nigerians of good conscience. It's not a regional protest. It's not a tribal protest. But it's a sincere protest born out of sincerity. I am calling on all Nigerians with good conscience to come out in mass. Those in Jos, Plateau, Kaduna, Kogi, and Abuja to come on Independence Day at Eagle Square to support this call. And I'm also calling on that black man to help us. Abuja is your constituency. We are coming from the north. You can help us to call the IG of police in preparation to this protest. The Raja president, I know you have the platform, and I'm also calling of all the Nigerian bloggers and social media influencers, those with good conscience and sincerity, so that our brother Nnamdi Kanu will be free. I'll bring up subsequent videos in preparation for this call and for this peaceful protest. May God bless Federal Republic of Nigeria.
You heard that. At least somebody is speaking. At least somebody is saying something. I don't care if he has political motive, which is possible, but that doesn't matter for me. We are talking about on our message today about voice being silent, that you must be silent, and you see somebody is speaking. You know that ordinarily, Biafrans, Nigeria has caged us that we are now scared to even come out to speak. We can't even protest. The only protest that we had is sit at home. That was why Mazi Simon ever held on it and held it very strong, because that was the only way we can express ourselves. Sit at home was the only power that we had. We can't protest. Anytime we protest, it has been bloodshed. We protested in a hate bridge. Many people died. The idiot who conducted that protest now today, he's the one today attacking Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and speaking ill of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But he forgot that he led people to death. He's the one attacking Mazi Simon, but he forgot he led a protest which people died. In Aba, we lost our lives also in Aba. In Ozu River, people died. When people gather to pray in Enugu, they open fire. You see why we cannot protest? We can't go to protest anyway. But this one, the protest is being called by a northern man, somebody from the Middle Belt. That guy, that they're going to have a protest October 1st in Ego Square. And he's calling on all people that matter. Let us watch and see what is going to happen, how government is going to respond. Let the world take notice and see how government is going to respond to this protest. The protest to release our Supreme Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Let us watch and see how the world will respond to this protest. 1st of October, we are here watching. We are going to be following the event. See if they're going to arrest the guy or they're going to allow the protest or not. The guy even called Very Dark Man in one of his videos that Very Dark Man should help to promote the protest. I have not seen any video that by Very Dark Man. You know, everyone of them is skeptic. When the issue has to do with an Igbo person, when it has to do with an Igbo person, a Biafran, everybody run away. The guy called on Very Dark Man. Let us be watching and see what is going to be the response of Very Dark Man. Because I don't trust any human rights activists in Nigeria. I don't trust them. They are all there for personal interest or whatever. I don't trust them. But all we want is that voice. The most important thing now is that this brother has added his voice. Whether they have a political motive or no political motive, I don't care. My joy is that somebody somewhere is now speaking, calling for that protest that they would want to. Let us see how it's going to be turn out. My fellow Biafrans, a call to Biafrans and all oppressed people. Every Biafran, wherever you are, wherever you find yourselves, wherever you are, my beloved Biafrans, brothers and sisters, wherever you are, Biafra cannot afford silence. We cannot afford silence, not even for a minute. We cannot afford silence. Not even for a second. We can't afford silence. We need to be speaking. Nigeria operation strives because of fear, because too many voices have been caged. But no more. That is how they survive. Nigeria operations, they survive because of fear. They create fear. That fear they create. You see what they did to Sunday Igboho? When Sunday Igboho come up, you see the kind of fear they created in them. They attacked his house. They took the life of people. They took the life of, they attacked his house. They chased him. They wanted to take his life. Since after Sunday Igboho, have you seen anybody raising again?